The warehouse floor is a sea of constant movement, thousands of units shifting every hour across a global supply chain. In the high-stakes world of logistics, every box represents a promise, a transaction, and a piece of a company's lifeblood. The stock was received, it was logged, it was scanned into the system with precision. And then, quietly, it vanished without a trace. This isn't just a story about a missing crate or a misplaced pallet. It's about a sophisticated, invisible parasite feeding on the heart of global commerce. What if inventory doesn't vanish randomly? What if it's being taken systematically by a shadow network operating right under the noses of security? Welcome to Corporate Secrets. Today, we expose the silent heist, the warehouse theft ring. It starts with a simple audit, but it ends with a revelation that will change how you look at the supply chain forever. Is your inventory truly safe, or is it already walking out the door? To understand how a theft ring operates, we must first understand the sheer scale of the environment they exploit. Modern warehouses are marvels of engineering, handling massive volumes of goods with relentless speed. In a facility processing 50,000 units a day, the logistics flow is a blur of activity. From receiving docks to high bay storage, and finally to dispatch, every second counts. This relentless pressure for speed creates a double-edged sword. On one hand, it drives efficiency and profit. On the other, it creates a chaotic fog where small discrepancies are easily overlooked. In the rush to meet delivery windows, the focus is often on the what and the where, but rarely on the who or the why. This environment of high-speed complexity is exactly what a theft ring needs. It provides the perfect cover for movement that shouldn't be happening, hidden within the legitimate flow of commerce. Complexity, it seems, is the best friend of the organized criminal. In every complex system, there are cracks. In every warehouse, there are blind spots. These aren't just physical areas out of view of the cameras. They are process gaps where oversight fails. Perhaps it's a loading dock that stays open 5 minutes too long, or a shift change where the handoff is poorly documented. The theft ring doesn't look for the obvious door. They look for the hidden opportunity. They study the blind spots, the moments when the system is most vulnerable. It could be a ghost pallet that never quite made it to the shelf, or a shipment that was rejected but never actually returned to the vendor. These control gaps emerge slowly, often born from a desire to bypass red tape for the sake of speed. But once identified, they become the entry points for a systematic drain. The ring doesn't just stumble upon these gaps. They test them, probe them, and eventually, they own them. In the darkness of these blind spots, the inventory begins its journey out of the corporate books. The most dangerous element of a theft ring is the insider. These aren't outsiders breaking in. They are employees who know the system better than the managers do. They understand the schedules, the password protocols, and which security guards are more likely to look away. An internal network typically involves a mix of roles, from floor workers who physically move the stock, to data clerks who can manipulate inventory records. This internal involvement is what makes the ring so resilient. They know how to bypass the very controls designed to stop them because they helped build the workflows. Collusion is the engine of the scam. It's a quiet agreement, often fueled by a mix of financial desperation and a feeling of being undervalued. When the person responsible for the audit is also the person facilitating the theft, the fraud becomes nearly invisible. They don't just steal the inventory, they steal the information that proves it existed in the first place. This is why internal networks are the hardest to break. But an internal ring can only go so far. To turn stolen stock into cash, they need an external network. This is the pull side of the operation. It involves transporters who can move the goods without leaving a digital footprint, and unscrupulous vendors, or fences, who can resell the items in the open market. These external partners complete the chain of collusion. They provide the logistics, the storage, and the final distribution channels. Often, the external network includes legitimate-looking transport companies that operate under the radar, mixing stolen pallets with legal shipments. This integration makes detection nearly impossible during transit. The coordination between the insider and the outsider is a dark ballet of timing and trust. The driver arrives at a specific gate at a specific time, knowing exactly which guard will be on break and which loading bay will be unmonitored. Without this external connection, the theft ring is just a group of employees with a basement full of goods they can't move. With it, They are a professional criminal enterprise. Theft on this scale is never random. It is meticulously planned, often weeks or months in advance. The ring selects their targets based on two criteria: high value and high liquidity. Electronics, pharmaceuticals, and designer apparel are the favorites. They don't just take whatever is near the door, they take what is easiest to sell and hardest to track. The planning phase involves detailed reconnaissance. They study the warehouse's rhythm, when the shift changes happen, when the hot items are most vulnerable during unloading, and when the audit cycles occur. They look for dead time, those windows where oversight is at its lowest. The goal is to create a theft that looks like a logistics error. They plan for contingencies, what to do if a random check occurs, or how to explain a missing pallet as a shipping delay. This isn't a smash and grab, it's a surgical operation. Every move is calculated, every participant has a role, and every second is accounted for. The theft is committed in the mind long before it happens on the floor. Execution begins with diversion. During routine operations, when the warehouse is at its busiest, the ring makes their move. It often happens during the unloading phase. A shipment of 20 pallets arrives, but only 19 are scanned into the system. The 20th is quietly set aside, tucked away in a corner of the returns area or hidden behind a wall of empty crates. Alternatively, it happens during dispatch. A truck is loaded with 50 boxes, but 55 are placed on board, with the extra 5 being off-the-books profit. This diversion is the physical heart of the scam. It requires perfect timing and the cooperation of multiple players: the forklift driver, the loader, and the gate guard. To a casual observer, it looks like standard warehouse activity. The forklift is moving, the boxes are being loaded, and the paperwork is being signed. But in the noise of a busy dock, the theft ring finds its frequency. The inventory isn't being lost, it's being redirected to a new destination, far from the company's reach. To keep a theft ring hidden, the physical move must be matched by a digital erase. This is where documentation manipulation comes in. The ring uses the company's own software to hide the crime. They alter receipt records to show fewer items were delivered than actually arrived. They create damaged goods reports for items that are perfectly fine, effectively writing them off the books before they are moved out. They might even manipulate the shipping manifests, changing the destination or the quantity after the final audit check. This digital sleight of hand creates a false reality for the managers and auditors. When the system says there are 80 units, and there are actually 80 units on the shelf, everything looks perfect. The problem is that there should have been 100. By the time the next physical count happens, the trail is cold, the data is months old, and the discrepancies are dismissed as shrinkage or entry errors. The ring doesn't just steal the product, they steal the truth of its existence. The first cracks in the wall appear as inventory shortages. But because the ring is so good at manipulation, these shortages often emerge in strange, fragmented ways. An order for a high-value customer can't be filled because the system says the stock is there, but the shelf is empty. Or perhaps the annual audit reveals a mysterious gap in a specific product line that has been consistently popular. These shortages are often met with confusion rather than suspicion. Managers assume it's a shipping error, a picking mistake, or a simple miscount. They order more stock to cover the gap, unwittingly feeding the very ring that created it. This is the detection lag. Because warehouses deal with thousands of SKUs, a small percentage of loss is often accepted as the cost of business. The theft ring knows this threshold and stays just below it, allowing the shortages to bleed the company slowly over years. It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and the company is bleeding out without knowing why. The numbers tell a devastating story. What starts as a few missing boxes quickly scales into a massive financial crisis. In one real-world investigative case, a systematic warehouse theft ring resulted in a cumulative inventory loss of $21.4 million over a 3-year period. This isn't just a loss of product, it's a loss of profit margin, a loss of market share, and a massive hit to shareholder value. For a mid-sized company, an exposure of this scale can be the difference between growth and bankruptcy. The financial impact ripples through the entire organization. It means less capital for innovation, reduced bonuses for honest employees, and a breakdown in trust with vendors and customers. The cost of the stolen goods is only the beginning. You have to add the cost of the investigation, the legal fees, and the permanent damage to the brand's reputation. When $21 million walks out the door, it takes the company's future with it. The ring wins, and the corporation pays the ultimate price for its blind spots. Why is detection so difficult? The answer often lies in fragmented controls. In many large organizations, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. The team receiving the goods, the team managing the inventory, and the team handling the dispatch operate in silos. They use different systems, report to different managers, and rarely cross-reference their data in real time. This fragmentation is a gift to the theft ring. They operate in the no-man's land between departments. If the receiving team notices a discrepancy, they assume the inventory team will catch it. If the inventory team sees a gap, they assume it's a dispatch error. This lack of end-to-end visibility means that the ring can hide their activities in the gaps between departmental responsibilities. Accountability is diluted when everyone is responsible for only one piece of the puzzle. To stop a ring, you need a holistic view of the entire supply chain, but most companies are still looking through a keyhole, one department at a time. We often rely on technology as a silver bullet, but even the best surveillance is useless without active monitoring. Many warehouses have hundreds of cameras, but only a handful are actually watched in real time. The footage is often only checked after a crime is reported, but with a theft ring, the crime is hidden so well it's never reported. Furthermore, audit procedures are often predictable and infrequent. If the ring knows the auditors only come once a year, they can clean up the books just in time. Or if they know the audit is only a statistical sample, they simply ensure the stolen items are not part of the sampled aisles. Weak surveillance and hollow audit processes create a false sense of security. Companies think they are protected because they have cameras and clipboard-carrying professionals, but without an investigative mindset, these are just theater. The ring isn't afraid of the camera. They are afraid of the person who actually understands what the camera is seeing. Until the oversight becomes as sophisticated as the crime, the theft will continue. The signs were there. They always are. Repeated inventory mismatches that are dismissed as human error. Frequent write-offs for damaged goods in categories that shouldn't be fragile. Unusual dispatch patterns where certain drivers always request the same loading dock at the same late-night hour. These are the red flags that the organization ignored. Other signs include employees who never take vacation, fearing their system will be discovered in their absence, or sudden, unexplained wealth among low-level staff. Perhaps it's a consistent failure of specific CCTV cameras in high-value zones. When these signals are viewed in isolation, they seem minor. But when you connect the dots, they form a clear map of a theft ring in operation. The key to prevention isn't just having more controls, it's having the intelligence to recognize when the controls are being tested. Are you listening to what your data is trying to tell you, or are you ignoring the warnings until the loss is too great to recover? The core lesson of the warehouse theft ring is simple but profound. Control must match complexity. If your logistics are sophisticated, your security and audit must be even more so. This means moving beyond static counts and manual clipboards. It means real-time inventory tracking, where every movement of every pallet is logged and verified by an independent third party. It means rotating staff across different docks and shifts to break up potential collusion patterns. It means using AI-driven analytics to spot anomalies in shipping and receiving data before they become major losses. But most importantly, it means fostering a corporate culture of integrity and accountability. When employees feel valued and part of a secure system, they are more likely to be the first line of defense rather than the first link in a theft ring. Prevention is not about policing, it's about protection. It's about ensuring that the value created by the many is not stolen by the few. Security is a mindset, not just a system. But here is the final chilling truth. The real risk is not just one warehouse or one rogue team. The biggest threat is the network of networks. We are seeing the rise of organized rings that operate across multiple locations, across different countries, and across different companies. They don't just steal from you. They use your supply chain as their personal distribution network. They move from one facility to another, staying just long enough to drain the value before moving on. This is the global shadow economy. It is professional, it is well-funded, and it is highly resilient. When one warehouse tightens its controls, the ring simply shifts its focus to the next weakest link in the global chain. This is why information sharing and industry-wide vigilance are the only ways to win this war. The theft ring isn't just a local problem, it's a systemic risk to the global economy. The question is no longer if they will target you, but when. And will you be ready to see them before they see you? If this video opened your eyes, like, share, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Corporate Secrets. Protecting the truth, one investigation at a time. Thank you for watching. If this video opened your eyes, like, share, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Corporate Secrets.